Matty and Steve, they set the stage. From classic bouts to the modern age. Every slam, every story, every legacy comes alive with Wrestling Pedigree. So tune on in, the spotlight's bright. The ring is ready on this podcast night. It's Wrestling Pedigree.
I don't care what happens, as that song is still a freaking banger.
Dude, as far as podcast songs go, ours is like the tops. Nobody can beat us.
Absolutely. Welcome, everybody, to a brand new episode of the Wrestling Pedigree. I'm your co-host, Matty, and along with me is my other co-host, the last real general manager of MWL, who's had an amazing pay-per-view last weekend. Steve Wilkins, how are you, sir?
Oh, man. Last night's Royal Rumble. Oh, if we were talking about that on this podcast, there would be so much wrestling negativity. And that's something that we just can't do here on Wrestling Pedigree, because we promote wrestling positivity. So it's a good thing we are talking about one of my favorite eras for this month, and that's the Attitude Era.
Absolutely. This month, all our episodes will be dedicated about the Attitude Era. This week, we have Unsung Heroes of the Attitude Era. So the likes of the workhorses and just the ones that don't get that much recognition they should. Before we start, just like Steve said, because a particular show shit the bed last night, we are going to give you as much positivity as possible tonight. However, there will be some digs. So let's kick it off. Let's kick off this with this. Let's go to 1997. I think when the Attitude Era started, and there was one particular wrestler, you'll know very well, was on form, and throughout '98 he was, and 1999 he was amazing, and that was Owen Hart. What can you say about Owen Hart, Steve?
Oh, man. Now, if you know me, or even if you just listen or watch the podcast, you know how invested I am in the Hart family. Now, my favorite wrestler of all time being the great Bret the Hitman Hart. Love the British Bulldog, love Jim Neidhart. Owen was a class of his own. Not only was he a technical wizard, just like Bret, just like Stu, Owen was a real personality. And that showed not just in his wrestling, but in the character that he portrayed, whether it was himself, Owen Hart, or the Blue Blazer. Owen, to me, he is the very definition of what a professional wrestler should be. Never took himself too seriously, but took himself seriously enough where he got that training in, and he made it entertaining for everybody watching, and I think for himself too. I think he was highly entertained by himself, which I can't blame him.
Oh, absolutely. And the amount of stories I've heard from various wrestlers back in that day, they literally loved the ribs he did.
Yep.
I just found it hilarious, some of the ribs he did. And I think one of them was Jeff Jarrett and Owen versus Edge Christian. And I think Edge Christian was doing the 10, the 10 punches in turnbuckle. They were on the second rope. And this is a live show. And I think Owen had a clown nose. And he literally put the clown nose on while they were punching when they got distracted. I thought that, and it just broke Edge. I just thought that was brilliant.
Yeah, and like Owen's ribs were never out of malice. Like, I'm sure everybody that listens to this podcast has heard about the infamous rib on Sunny with the Godwin slop bucket. I'm not going to go into that because I think it's disgusting, and I would rather promote positivity.
Yes, you would. However, I find that shit very hilarious, especially what Xbox did. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is there a match in that Attitude Era? So we're going from '97 to unfortunately this past in 1999. Is there any matches stand out for Owen for you?
Oh my God, he had so many amazing matches in that era. Um, Even when we're thinking about the match where he injured Stone Cold, up
Mm.
until that botch, it was a fantastic match. And you know, Owen was a technical master, and so was Austin at that point.
Oh yes, I mean before the unfortunate thing, yeah. But Owen, I think what was the match? Owen versus Chris. No, Owen versus Edge at Breakdown '98. I think that don't get as much um, views as it should because that was a really good match.
It was.
Owen versus, I think Owen and Jeff Jarrett was a really good tag team.
Oh yeah, and they knew each other so well that putting them as a tag team or putting them as opponents, they were going to work perfectly together.
Let's talk the. I think it was himself versus Ken Shamrock in the dungeon.
Yep.
What was your take on that match? Because that is a phenomenal match. That was.
I thought it was a really fun, really unique match, and that's something that personally I would have loved to have seen a second one.
I would. I think was he in a Lions Den match also with Shamrock, or am I mistaken on that?
No, I think you're right.
Because I think Dan Severn was the ref,
Yes.
and it was just or opposite. So I think it was Dan Severn. Either way, um, another one that he had a great few matches with was himself versus Triple H.
Mm-hmm.
I think that rivalry was really good. Him and DX was amazing. What was your take on the last Hart versus DX of Triple H and China?
I mean, I thought they were all really good matches. I thought that it told a good story. Owen was out for revenge for what DX and Shawn Michaels did to his family, especially to his brother.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Let's go off onto someone that Owen had a couple of matches with, and they were quite good matches on Monday Night Raw. Val Venus, the gimmick that should have worked, but it absolutely got over. Do you remember the vignettes before his debut?
Oh yeah, I remember those.
As a teenager, we all remember.
Yeah.
What was your take on when you see Val when the first time coming out?
Seeing him come out that very first time, seeing him gyrate with the towel around his waist and then whipping it off, he was exactly who I thought that he was going to be. And they pushed him as, this guy could be huge. No pun intended. um I thought for Sean Morley that gimmick fit him really well. And I thought they could have went to the absolute moon with him. Instead, they had Kaientai choppy his pee-pee.
Oh, wow. What a moment that was. what I'm just in my head. It's replaying of him getting beaten up by Kai and Tai, getting dragged out, and then right before the show ends, you see Mr.
Mr. Yamaguchi-san.
Yamaguchi-san, and literally just have the samurai. I mean, the next week got weird.
Yeah.
When was it? Bobby Brown?
John Wayne Bobbitt.
Yeah, John Wayne Bobbitt just coming out, which people don't know. This is a guy whose dick got chopped off and his wife threw it on the highway. And then had another penis attached to him and then went into porn. Which actually suits Val Venus to a T.
Mm-hmm.
It was a weird ending, but do you remember what Val Venus said in that promo?
I really don't.
He said, when the thing went on the course out, he said, "Thank God for shrinkage."
Oh God!
And I just back there, you obviously couldn't say it now, but I just hilarious. I love that. He had some good matches, didn't he, during his time in Attitude Era?
He did. If I'm not mistaken, he held the Intercontinental Championship twice, I think.
Yes.
So he was definitely what I would call an unsung hero of the Attitude Era. He had the gimmick. He could wrestle. His life after wrestling kind of started to get a little weird.
Oh yeah. I mean, this is a guy who will sleep with a wrestler's sister. So I think he broke up a lot of marriages, wasn't it? Goldust and Terry, they were already divorcing, and he sleeps with her.
Yep. Goldust and Terry, Yamaguchi-san and Mrs. Yamaguchi-san.
Ryan Shamrock.
Yep.
I remember the Fatal 4-Way at WrestleMania. It was Val Venus. I think it Road Dogg. Ken Shamrock. I can't remember the other one, but I think it's Goldust. But it was just everybody was just after. I think three of them was just after Ryan, and then there's Shamrock just there. Is there anyone else you think is actually an unsung hero for the Attitude Era? I mean, there's plenty of them.
You know, somebody that I want to bring to the forefront that I definitely don't think ever got his flowers was Test.
Yes.
He was great in the ring. Coming from being a bodyguard for Motley Crue, training to be a wrestler, he wasn't a bad wrestler, and he got people behind him.
Oh yeah.
From his couple of runs as a singles wrestler to his tag team with Albert as TNA, where they introduced Trish Stratus. Him going over to ECW with Stacy Keibler and getting his testicles.
Mm-hmm.
He did what the company needed and wanted him to do. And he was entertaining. He wasn't overly entertaining. He wasn't The Rock.
Mm.
But watching him in the ring, he always put on good matches. There's not enough that I can say about Test because he was so good. He was such a great big man.
Oh yeah, and he was part of two crazy factions. Part of a very good tag team, and he had one of the best pump handle slams I've seen.
And he had testicles all over the world.
Yeah, and he could look at Stacy Kleber every week. I think he's part of one of the biggest storylines of Attitude Era with this wedding and Triple H coming out in fucking that up.
Yep.
I think that's one of the craziest storylines ever. Do you feel that storyline is underrated? I mean, people focus on Triple H and Stephanie, but I think Tess did such a great job on that. Don't you think?
Oh yeah, absolutely, he did. And I think if WWE had played their cards right, that could have turned Andrew Martin into a main eventer.
Oh yeah, absolutely, totally agree with that. Like you said, Eric Cornell champion, hardcore champion, the man who was, I think he was accused of being a mole for WWE, but then became a mole for WCW, and just literally became a really good heel in September 2001 until the winner takes it all in Survivor Series.
Yep.
He was brilliant. That was his best work, I thought.
Yeah, I'll totally agree.
Also, him and Booker after an aggression era was really, really good. Also,
Yeah.
We mentioned him. I mentioned him earlier. I love to know what you think about this guy, and that is Goldust. I actually thought you were going. He's for me is one of the pillars of Attitude Era because this guy does literally try to get cancelled but never did.
The Goldust character is a character that wasn't supposed to happen, but Dustin Runnels, he ran with it and he made it so fucking good. Whether it was classic Goldust looking like the Emmy, or the artist formerly known as Goldust coming out in his green and black bodysuit with his ball gag, or dressing up as Baby New Year.
That I was about to mention that the Baby New Year and him and Austin segment was unbelievable.
That's that is a character that shouldn't have worked for anybody. And Dustin Rhodes made it work so fucking well. And I still remember the WrestleMania that he was up against Roddy Piper, which I know we've talked about this on past episodes. That whole Hollywood back alley brawl was so good and so entertaining. Showing the OJ footage with the white Bronco chase. Oh, it made me laugh goddamn hard, and it still makes me laugh every time I rewatch it.
It's one of those matches you could just watch and never be bored.
Absolutely.
He had some great matches in Attitude Era. I could think of himself versus D'Lo, himself against Blue Meanie at St. Valentine's Massacre. I mean, just having the Blue Meanie is just obviously being an ECW mark. I knew of him, but I love Blue Meanie to a pulp. He was so funny. He was really good, and he could get anyone over.
Right.
Do you think if Goldust was still with it after 1999, he was still with WWE after that, do you think he would have done really well in the 2000s and coming up to end of it in 2001?
Unfortunately, I think if he had stuck with them through the 2000s, the Goldust character would have changed dramatically.
Still?
I think they would have probably killed the Goldust character and had him start going by the American Nightmare Dustin Rhodes.
American Nightmare?
Yes, because that's what he was going by in WCW.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep. So he was the original American Nightmare.
So you got some gimmick infringement there.
Yes and no. Because Cody did ask him, "Hey, can I use this as a tribute to Dad?" And Dustin said, "Yeah, go for it. Just run with it."
That's so cool. I didn't know that.
Yep.
Ken Shamrock. I think he's an unsung hero. I mean, this is a guy who was the referee in one of the greatest WrestleMania matches of all time.
Hmm.
Brett versus Austin I Quit match. He had a massive impact. Ken Shamrock, don't you think?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Being the first major fighter to come over from UFC, that also kind of got eyes from the WWE fans onto UFC, where obviously eventually we saw some of the other big names, like we saw Dan Severn come over. We eventually saw Brock Lesnar go to UFC.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think Shamrock coming over, it was really good for both sides of the business, the UFC side and the WWE side.
I like it. Like I said, with the Lions Den matches. Um, like him and Tess, they were part of a really weird faction. Can you remember what the faction's called?
I believe you're talking about the Union.
The Union. Uh, I'm not saying it's unsung because my God, that was a terrible idea. But the Union was basically your best getting together, wasn't it, against the corporation?
Eh, would you really call it your best though?
Uh, second best, third best.
Yeah, I'd say probably mid card to upper mid carders.
I would not call Mick Foley mankind an uppercomer, like a third tier. I would say he was one of the top.
Well, yeah, Mick was definitely one of the top guys, but and everybody under him was mid card to upper mid card.
Yeah, I think Big Show was just getting his way, wasn't he, back then?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Anyone with any picks you got? Or I got turned in my head, but
Now, the Union did amuse me. I wish it had gone on for a little longer, but
yeah.
it went on for what, probably 3 months before it
Uh,
dissolved.
yeah, from April to June.
Yeah. I wish they had been able to do more with it because it was good wrestlers put together.
Oh yeah. Um, I think we talk about unsung heroes and it's not really like wrestlers, obviously, but do you remember the episode of Monday Night Raw where HBK shows up and changes the whole match card?
I don't remember that.
So it's the Ministry of Corporation, the Corporation Ministry, whatever they're called, comes out and they're like talking, and then the Union's actually in the ring and they're talking, and then Shawn Michaels appears on the Titantron and he says he's in San Diego, Texas, and he calls Shane a loser, and he literally just scrubs off everything that's on the match card on tonight, and literally just puts this match, which I say is very unsung. Two oldies who were unsung in the Attitude Era, and that is Patterson and Briscoe,
Ah, yes.
the Stooges versus the Mean Street Posse, Pete Gas and Rodney Mack. I think not Rodney Mack.
No.
Something Rodney. It was Rodney. I know it was Rodney.
Yeah.
But what was your take on the Stooges? Because I think they're unsung.
Oh yeah, they were definitely unsung, and not only in the ring but backstage. Like, if Vince McMahon wasn't in charge of WWF, then it should have been Patterson and Briscoe, because
Oh yeah.
they were so creative. Like, Patterson came up with the fucking Royal Rumble, which, to me, last night's match notwithstanding, it is the most exciting match of the year.
Oh yes, absolutely. Uh, I don't know if you remember. Do you remember the Gerald Briscoe versus Pat Patterson Evening Gal Hardcore title match?
Yeah, yeah, I remember that.
I,
I'd rather
I,
not remember that, but I do.
a lot of people don't want to remember it, but it was the only match. The match was like this because Michael Hayes wanted something to do with Trish and Lita in a bikini match, and then just to fill out a gap in the King of Ring 2000. And literally, Prince goes, "You're right. We're going to get Patterson and Gerald Briscoe in an evening gal match for the hardcore title."
Yep.
Literally, I'd rather have Trish and Leah. Another unsung for me, and I love this guy to bits, and I wish I could be like him, is the Godfather.
Oh yeah. Can we really call the Godfather unsung though? Because he's somebody that we still can see on WWE TV. Like, at any point he could come out with his hose. So
True.
is he really unsung?
He was unsung that through 1998 to 2000, before he done the gimmick change. He was freaking awesome. And he made it. I remember matches where he didn't even wrestle. He just come in there with his hose and literally say, "Hey, it's no fighting me. You can have these hoses for a reasonable price." I mean, you don't see that. I
No.
was marking out for that. I loved it and just thought, if I want to grow up to be a go grow up to be a pimp.
Well, if you want to grow up to be the Godfather, first you have to become a shaman priest.
Yes,
Then you have to get into MMA. Then you can be
become
a pimp.
okay. And then after that, I could retire, just be a club owner.
Yeah. Oh, but before you become a pimp, you have to get into the Nation of Domination.
True, and then leave
Which,
them.
with your skin tone, that might be a little difficult.
I'm not being funny. If Owen Hart could get in it, I could get in.
It's true.
And no offense, is if Owen Hart could get in it, and then I could just after leaving the nation, I could literally just do some pimping for a couple of years, come back every 3 years at a Royal Rumble, and then just relax in Las Vegas. Talking of Godfather though, D'Lo Brown.
Oh yes.
Now that is someone who's unsung. For the first ever time, I think he's the first ever Intercontinental European champion
I
simultaneously.
think right. Yeah.
And I mean, this is a guy who's got injured ribs, who's what was it? What was he having on his front of his body to protect his chest?
No, just exactly what you would call it, a chest protector.
A chest protector, and he literally made that a gimmick for himself. It was
And
brilliant.
that gimmick with the chest protector, it was so fun, especially with him going high for the lowdown. No, that was a sky. Yeah, that was the lowdown.
Yeah, look, sky high when he lift them up and then like a powerbomb.
Yep.
His matches against Mark Henry, Jeff Jarrett was brilliant. Don't you think?
Mark Henry, Jeff Jarrett, Owen Hart.
Yeah.
His matches against Draws before the injury.
They were really good.
They were.
Edge. I think he had good matches with Edge also.
Yep.
we did touch on it a bit. We know what became of Mark Henry, but Mark Henry in the Attitude Era was something.
Yes, he was the father of a hand. That's what he was.
Now that's unsung. No, just being Central Chocolate and the way he was, I was fully entertained. He was one of the backbones for me because you cannot be that kind of person, that kind of big meaty man, and think, yeah, I'm a ladies man. And he played off
Well,
so well.
well, he did it, and then Viscera did it.
Yeah, I prefer the Mark Henry one though. Fisher is Fisher's finisher is something you'll see in Epstein files.
That's something that I see in my nightmares.
No. The thing that Fisher is the one of the ones that dated Lillian Garcia and Trish. So yeah. Talking of Fisher, when he first introduced in the Attitude Era, he got kidnapped in 1999 Royal Rumble. That was a really good gimmick for him, wasn't it? In Attitude Era for Viscera and Midian also.
Yeah. I mean, as far as Midian goes, I think that was the perfect bookend for his career. For Viscera, I remember seeing him come into WWE. I think it was early '93. He
Yes,
came
93.
in. He came in with Mo and Oscar as Men on a Mission. Um, which as 9-year-old Steve, I loved it. It's like, yeah, these guys like hip hop. I'm cool. I like hip hop too. And coming down with the good old naughty by nature, like waving your hands in the air and all
Yeah.
that. And then just seeing his transformation from the fun-loving big fat guy to like the brutal king when he won King of the Ring, to eventually being kidnapped by the Ministry and transformed into Viscera. Like, the evolution of his character, he made it work really, really well.
I agree.
And for
I
such a
agree.
big guy, he could move.
Yeah, and some of the wrestlers didn't like facing him, but because he was a bit clumsy, but he was amazing. Like fast, just crazy. I think him and Big Daddy V was just unstoppable.
Yep.
You mentioned something about dark, gruesome gimmick, and I just think a wrestler just popped into my head, and I know you're gonna love him because I know you love the music. Gangrel.
Oh my god.
Now that is an unsung hero because my God, he was in charge of two of the best tag teams.
hmm Like, without Gangrel, where would the Hardy Boys be? Where would Edge and Christian be? They both really got their start as Brood and Brood 2.0.
Yeah,
So
I think if
just
they weren't there, they were there. They probably would be in WCW.
yeah. So it's really big ups to Gangrel,
Oh yeah,
because he was able to kind of take them under his wing, show them this is what the business is about, and he helped to honestly build 4 future Hall of Famers.
I agree. Do you remember the bloodbaths?
Oh yeah,
Is there anyone that stands out for a bloodbath? Because I got one in my mind, and that's the one with Kane.
yep, I remember the one with Kane.
When Kane went batshit crazy.
Yes. I remember when he started doing them on Edge and Christian, when the Hardys
Yes,
came with him.
yes, I remember that one. I got Christian a couple of times.
Yep.
I remember the Road Dogg one. I think Road Dogg was pissed.
Uh-huh.
Talking of obviously Road Dogg, I would say he's kind of unsung a little bit, but um, watching Unreal 2 and him giving his way, like his mindset during that time, I think it's amazing how he survived the Attitude Era.
Yeah, me too. With all the drugs and alcohol that Road Dogg was on at that time, I'm surprised that he survived, period.
Yeah, absolutely. Would you say he's an unsung hero, or would you say that he was a workhorse?
I wouldn't really say that he was an unsung hero, especially being part of DX. DX was really the main event of
Yeah.
of the Attitude Era. So calling him an unsung hero, I really can't agree with that.
Would,
And like the same with Billy Gunn,
yeah, I was
even
about to say.
though even though Billy Gunn, even he's what 60 years old now, and he's still going.
Yeah, and he's still causing shit with Meltzer and comparing him to Cole Fletcher. The
Yeah,
guy's got more heat than anywhere.
right.
Uh,
And the guy's still cut like he's 20 years old.
yeah, I'm very jealous. Very jealous. That guy's got some meat.
Hmm.
Um, I think this is a show that we might get cancelled. Um, uh, I was thinking, let's go in tag teams then. Is there any particular tag team that is an unsung for you?
Kai and Tai,
Yes, I
yes.
totally agree. Or have
Specifically Takama Shinuku and Sho Funaki.
indeed.
Indeed.
I couldn't believe that was Shane.
Now, when I go back and I listen to it, I go, "Oh, that is totally Shane."
That's crazy. And I think the other bit was Bruce Pritchard, wasn't it? Or some of the
Yep.
ones.
Yep.
Crazy to think that. I was so oblivion to it because we're keeping with kayfabe at that time that we didn't think of it when they would come out next. Like Shane would come out straight after Kaientai. I was like, oh, and he's talking, and won't click.
Right.
Obviously, the Kaientai is famous for the Foul Venus choppy choppy pee pee. More famous is Taka's elimination from the 2000 Royal Rumble, do you think?
Yeah.
I mean, that got replayed so many times, and Jerry the King Lawler just spat on it. Oh, they had some good matches though.
Oh yeah. Like especially going back to when they first introduced him, um, as part of the light heavyweight championship tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Like nobody in the U.S. had ever really seen him. We at that point didn't really have access to Japanese wrestling.
No,
So seeing this brand new tiny Japanese wrestler, it put everybody like up in arms. Like, oh my god, he's so good. He's doing things that we've never seen. Except for like when WCW got the Great Muda
yeah, yeah.
or
I
Jushin Thunder Liger.
you have to mention that legend. I remember seeing Taka first against Grandmaster Setsui for the light heavyweight title.
Hmm.
That was a really good match, and then Funaki came in, and they were brilliant because they didn't take themselves seriously, but they can go if they needed to.
Yep.
And I think they had a great match with this other. I'm calling this tag team unsung because I don't think they get the recognition they should, and that's too cool.
Yes.
I think Too Cool, Grandmaster Setsei, and Scotty Too White are so unsung. It's unbelievable. For a tag team that shouldn't have worked, freaking worked by miles.
Yeah, especially putting them together with Rikishi.
Yes.
That made magic for all three of them. It showed that Fatu wasn't just this big savage Samoan killer, that he could have fun.
Oh yeah, and he could, and that rivalry with TNA, um, the Radicals. It's just one of those where they shouldn't have worked, but they absolutely did work by 5 stars because you cannot have a dancing segment or a spot in the Royal Rumble if you're not that over.
Absolutely. And I mean, their gimmick was so cringe, but it worked. And it's something that I still follow Scotty Too Hottie on Facebook and X, and I see him doing the same stuff with. He recently did it with his son, and
Ke-
oh
Keegan and is it Keegan?
no, who is he? Who are they dancing with? I forget who they were dancing with, but it was a big man, and
Oh, is
it,
it
it was
Indies?
just it was Indies.
Uh,
And the name's gonna come to me.
yeah.
Um, but I remember I saw it just recently, and I'm like, wow, Scotty is still just as good as he ever was, and the dude's in great shape too. He's in
Oh,
probably
absolutely.
better shape now than he was when he was actively wrestling.
I seen Scotty and his son come over to my hometown in Bristol, and they've had meet and greets there and have fights there, matches there. He's like you say, he's in such great shape. It's just crazy, and they're a fun tag team. They popped up in GCW a couple of times, and yeah, Scotty could still go. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the Joe Hendry when he was with Joe Hendry, faced off Joe Hendry in the UK. Joe Hendry made a song about Scotty. I was literally dispersing the worm. I was like, oh god, he rinsed him. Um, is there any tag teams? You said Kai and Tai. I say too cool. There's got to be some unsung that we could put. Like for me, I was thinking APA.
You can't really call them unsung though.
Yeah, because unsung. They they were just nuts though. I wanted to be with them so much.
Yeah,
Um, try to think. TNA.
yeah. I mean, we already touched on Test.
Albert was pretty good back then, also.
He was great for a big man.
Oh yeah. Um, especially when you're coming out first with your withdrawals, and it's 1999, 98, 99, and you're piercing people.
Yep.
I remember I think he pierced Val Venus, and it was just crazy that he did it on a SmackDown.
Yeah.
That's just nuts. Um, unsung women. Is there any women wrestlers that are unsung back in the day that you think, oh, don't get the recognition they should?
This might be one that not a lot of people agree with, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it anyways because I have the microphone and you don't. Jazz.
Yes, yes.
I would say Jazz was totally unsung. Like she could she could go with any woman that you would put her in there with, and she would put on a great match. Um, so I'm going with Jazz. No, Jacqueline.
Oh yes, Miss Jacqueline.
Yep, Miss Jacqueline is one of my favorite all-time women wrestlers.
Yes, and her matches with Sable. I mean, she she put Sable over so well.
She did, and she was a safe worker.
Yes, but if you pissed her off, she wasn't a safe worker.
Oh no, she was still safe, but
Yeah.
she would hit you where it wasn't going to bruise.
Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah. I could see what you mean there.
That there's a
Uh,
reason she was Miss Texas.
I think she was one of the first ones I seen that wrestle men. I was like,
Yeah.
holy shit. One of the others unsung ones for me for the women is Ivory.
Yes.
I think Ivory is so underrated and so unsung that I know she's in the Hall of Fame, but this is a woman that's done a lot of gimmicks and got over on every single one of them.
Hmm. Like whether you loved her or hated her, when she was with Right to Censor, I hated her so fucking much.
She reminded me of a
But
teacher.
yeah, I hated her so much. But I loved her because I hated her.
Yeah, and her matches with Tori, like Tori, um, that was, they were really good. I think they had a hardcore one. Her and Luna had a good rivalry,
Hmm.
before Luna left. It was she's so underrated from going from Glow to WWE. And she did so much for like WWE after Attitude Era for WWE Experience, which we had over the UK. Like she was on a lot of WWE TV in the UK.
Yep.
Um, is there any before we wrap this up? Is there any pay-per-views of the Attitude Era that are unsung that don't get the recognition it should? Not like the bigger ones, but like the ones where you could go back on the network on a Netflix and go, "Oh yeah, that was really good."
Coming off of the heels of the era where they had In Your House,
Mm.
um, a lot of the pay-per-views, they started to. I don't want to say they started to get stale, but having pay-per-views what used to be back in the day every 3 months to what was then, it was, for a little while it was kind of unstable. Maybe you would have two pay-per-views in a month. Maybe you would have a pay-per-view, wait 2 months, have another pay-per-view. Maybe you wouldn't have anything between WrestleMania and SummerSlam. Um, so I think with the schedule, I kind of got a little bit burnt out because it was very unstable. And I'm somebody that likes stability in my schedule. Um, so a lot of the time, I really tried not to watch many of the pay-per-views except for the big four.
That's understandable. That's understandable. For me, for being a Briton, be a British lad, um, love, and I think it's underrated so much as Capital Carnage '98.
Oh yes, I do remember
Uh,
that one.
I love that one with Vinnie Jones coming out, who was massive in the UK, being a footballer and then doing massive movies in the UK. The match card was really, really good. And we talk about Jacqueline, and she had a mishap on that. Um, and then the main event with Austin, and then we got Big Boss Man added into that. It was a really, the crowd was loud. The crowd was 50 times better than the one last night. It's literally a underrated pay per view. Along with that, I will probably say Backlash 2000.
Okay, yep.
I mean, Austin returning, the double referees, and some great match cards on that. So those two are my unsung heroes for pay per views.
Now you just mentioned another one of my unsung heroes. Somebody that was around for the late '80s, left for a little while, came back in the '90s, and he was a big staple in WWE programming, and that's a Big Boss Man.
In my head, I was like, "Come on, Georgia 10." There you go.
Now,
Yeah, he was amazing.
back in the '80s, early '90s, he was the quintessential big man. That wasn't a huge big man, He could go. He was agile, and you really believe that he could kick your ass whether he had that nightstick in his hand or not. Now,
Yeah.
coming back for the Attitude Era, starting his whole program with the Big Show, I remember him dragging the Big Show's quote unquote father's casket around with his bluesmobile, I shall call it.
Yeah. That's
Because it wasn't a cop car, it was a bluesmobile. It had the big speaker up on the top. So yeah, it was a bluesmobile. Dragging that through the graveyard and having the Big Show just jump on it. It was so cringe, but it was so Attitude Era.
Yes. And if you're a fan of like Conrad Thompson and Bruce Pritchard, please go on Summit to wrestle with, because Bruce Pritchard has the best story for this. It is so funny. Oh man, I remember that, and it was so cringe that you couldn't look away. And then, and what really fucked up was a couple of days later, unfortunately, he did go. But it's just, oh man, that was so cringe for someone who's 7 foot tall, holding on to a casket, being towed by a bluesmobile, a fake cop car, and then I think, if I remember the story, there is a freaking real funeral just away from them, and they're seeing what they're fucking doing. Oh man, if I had a time machine, I want to go there just to see what the fuck they did after. Oh man, thank you so much for putting that image back in my head, Steve.
And you're welcome.
Is there a moment in Attitude Era that doesn't get talked about that should, before we go off? In your opinion, that should be talked about but never does?
There's a moment that I already mentioned. It gets talked about, but I don't think it gets talked about enough. And that's choppy your pee-pee.
Yeah, I agree. I can understand why they don't want to do it, because like now they're on Netflix. Imagine that on Netflix now.
Oh no,
God.
no, that would not go.
You say that, but you see some of the shit that Netflix put on. Like some of the cartoons.
Sure.
I mean, you got Archer on there.
You've got Big Mouth on there.
You got Big Mouth on there. So choppy PP, it would actually be all right, I think. But I agree with you. That is such an unsung moment. I mean, that is full Attitude Era in one video.
Absolutely.
I think probably my moment is probably the Mankind falling off the top of the cell. It's unsung, but it's not unsung. It's talked about all the time. But I think people are now gradually thinking of this guy. Mankind is so freaking crazy to do that. I think that just the whole build up for that is unsung. Not just the throw off, but the actual build up to it.
Yep. And
Undertaker.
Not only that, but now Mick Foley is walking away from fucking car crashes.
Yeah, and he's literally doing the thing that he did in his music video.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy is a complete entertainer and will do anything for a cheap pop. Now, what are the other underrated moments quickly is the tag team tables match between Dudley's and Hardy's.
Yes.
Royal Rumble 2000s. I think that's a moment where Jeff Hardy goes off. I know it's replayed a bit, but I think that was the first time we see a lot of it now. We see Shane McMahon jumping off Hell in a Cells. We see Darby Allin try to defy gravity. Literally, Jeff Hardy doing that, I think, caused that ripple effect, and I don't think that moment is used so much more, and I think that's unsung.
I totally agree, and I think without that moment from Jeff Hardy, we don't have a Darby Allin right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That moment in 2000, we won't even get the TLCs moments we got in WrestleMania 17 and WrestleMania SummerSlam 2000. So this is the first episode of our Attitude Era. So we got to come up with next week's episode, if there is a next week's episode, unless we're cancelled. I have an idea. I want to run past you, and I want to run past you on live because I feel if you say no, then you could get heat. I'm thinking next week, Attitude Era courtroom.
Ooh. Explain.
We put the moments, the characters, or the decisions on trial. So, for example, Triple H's 2000 run was the greatest ever.
Oh.
Was The Rock really better as a heel? Did the invasion actually ruin the Attitude Era? Me and you will be judge, jury, and executioner.
Ooh.
But we will send this out to everybody. So anyone that's listening to this, if you have a moment that you want for us to judge, jury, and execute, put it in the comments. Whether on Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, wherever, we will talk about them next week, and we'll have probably about five or six each moments. I think we will pick, and then we'll see if we judge them correctly. I think that will be an interesting show next week.
I like it. And you know what? I think we should work this into our monthly rotation.
Oh.
So when we get into March in our WCW, we do the same thing.
Yes. We could do that for all the months because there's bound to be some we could judge a jury you execute.
Oh, there is a lot that I'm going to be able to execute for WCW.
Oh yes. The week after that, on the 13th, I think like on the weekend started the 13th, so it'd be the 15th or 14th, one or the other. Has it St. Valentine's Day weekend? There's some that I love, and there's some you love that has been taken away from us for so many years. So for that weekend, not next weekend, the weekend after, for the 15th, the Lost Art of Titantrons.
Oh, okay.
So we break down the iconic entrance videos and themes of the Attitude Era. The APA's Door, the King's Organ, the Bruised Circle Fire, the Glass Shatter from Austin, all that we could talk about for the 15th.
I like it.
I think that is one of the best ones. And then I got one for the following one, which I know you're going to love, and that's the Attitude Era draft.
Yes.
But with a difference. So we get 10 wrestlers, 10 tag teams, 10 promos, 10 theme songs, and then we compare which was what.
Well, okay. Prepare to be defeated.
Oh, I know I will be. But I just think that would be a good 3-4 weeks of Attitude Era where it was totally something new that we were doing, and I think we'll just have fun doing it. And get the audience to get their predictions in and see which ones Attitude Era moments are going to be judged by us.
I like all those ideas. I really like all those ideas.
I see. I'm not just a pretty face.
Thank God.
So that is the end of the Unsung Heroes of the Attitude Era. I found this episode really fun.
Yeah, me too.
I've just talked about proper good old nostalgia. I just love it, especially after this past weekend. Where can people find you, young Steve?
Oh, you can find me. I'm around. You can find me on Facebook under my government name, Steve Akins. You can find me on X-Twitter under pedigree_Steve. You can find me on Instagram under So Many Tragedies. You can find me every now and then creeping on the Wrestling Pedigree Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Whether I'm under the Wrestling Pedigree name or under my government name. You can find me around. Yeah, look for me and I'll be there.
You can
As
find
creepy
him.
as that sounds.
You can find him sleeping in his car while he does the deliveries in his truck.
Yeah, my 30-foot box truck.
Falling asleep.
Yeah.
By the way, so there is a episode of me and Steve just completed for Hit the Turnbuckle podcast. It is available now where me and Steve is on there discussing everything in the past weekend of pro wrestling. Unfortunately, including the Royal Rumble last night, but also TNA, Steve Machines fired, AEW's news, and just everything in wrestling. So please have a look out for that. That will be on our Facebook and everywhere else for Spotify for Hit the Turnbuckle. So we have Kane Uncut tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern. And we have Ross Report on Wednesday, where I know, just like Steve, who had all the predictions correct for the Royal Rumble and has not let me go for that. Ross had the complete same predictions, and so watch him gloat on Ross Report on Wednesday. Yes.
However, where Rots and I had the same predictions, I defeated him in MWL for the MWL championship. So that is once again in my possession.
If you do want to join Steve's beloved brand Surge and NWL, please go onto Facebook, look for MWL predictions and league, and you will see them and you can sign up. I think you guys are still taking applicants.
We are. We are obviously in our home stretch for the season, with our season running until WrestleMania. But there's never a bad time to get in.
Just to get used to it.
Yeah. So just get used to it. You can message me, or you can just apply right to it. If you do end up applying right to it, make sure that you fill out the questionnaire for new members, where we'll ask you like your name, stuff like that, and then I can send you a form where you fill out everything about your character.
Yeah, and it's worth.
Or you can message me directly.
Yeah, if he has time to see it.
Yeah, I always see it.
I know he's very good on that. Also, if you do want to play Can't Find Steve, it's Jeff Chadwick and Justin Macaroni.
Justin Marchesini or Sean Bowley.
Oh yeah, because I'm not part of it anymore. I keep forgetting. God damn it. You can find Wrestling Pedigree obviously on Facebook. You can find Wrestling Pedigree on TikTok. And you can find us on YouTube and Instagram at Wrestling Pedigree 92. From myself and Steve, have a great week. Hopefully next week wrestling will be more positive. And don't be a dick. Have a great week, everybody.
And just enjoy wrestling.
Exactly.